Hello class, today we're going to be discussing the matter of the pyramids. And as you see this picture shown here, we have the pyramids in Egypt. And we're going to discuss this week all the different sections about the pyramids. We're going to, first of all, our main topic is going to be history. And what we're going to do is we're going to locate the timeline of when the pyramids were. Then we're also going to search for the purpose behind building the pyramids. And then also look at the information that we could find out on the inside of the pyramids to see if there is something beyond the main purpose and find out what that is. Why is it in the dimensions it is, pointing upwards toward the sky? And then what I'm going to have you do is during our time where I'm going to have you assigned to go through and look at the timeline and record the beginning of it and the ending and everything between about the main parts of the pyramid and the different named ones that they had dedicated to the pharaohs or kings of Egypt. They gave them the title of pharaoh, as we have for our leaders of our country here in the United States. We have president. Instead, in Egypt, it's called pharaoh. And during that time, the title of pharaoh was of great honor. And so they have these pyramids dedicated to them after their names. And so I want you to search that up. And then also we're going to be discussing the matter of the language arts that you find located inside the pyramid. And what you have is what's known as a hieroglyph. And what I've provided for you here to do some studying on is I'm going to give you a chart about hieroglyphs. And you'll see that here. But what I want you to do is to search out an item inside one of the pyramids and see by using this chart if you can be able to decipher it. And then I'd like for you, as another way of deciphering this, see if you can create your name using the hieroglyph. And I want you to do that on a separate sheet of paper. And we're going to go and process that. And then also inside the pyramids, you had the foods. You had, of course, the burial site was down underground for the pharaoh. You had jewelry and all types of fine arts located inside the pyramids. And so what I want you to do is to go and look up on the computer and also in the textbooks and do a review and find out what type of items there are. And on this handout here, I've got Egypt's pyramids, what lies inside. And then you can provide me the name of the item you found. And if you can find the date of when it was originally discovered, what they believe the estimated age of it is. And then try and describe in the other area provided what the item looks like. And also if you want to, as another item, on a blank sheet of paper, draw some of these arts that you find located inside the pyramid. And later we're going to discover and study those. And then also on the math, I want you to take a simple blank sheet of paper and draw another pyramid. And what I want you to do is on the pyramid to find out what the angles are located here on the charts. And if need be, where you can figure out the area, what I want you to do is to dissect this in half. Make your dotted line. And of course, when you have a straight line here, you know that you're going to develop a right angle at 90 degrees. And find out what the angle is pointing upward. And define it whether it's an obtuse right angle or an acute angle. And then figure out the last dimension of it. And I want you to draw it out, showing your dimensions, how you developed it. And then we're going to review that. And then finally, we have the journals and review on this here. What we're going to do is go through all that and discuss the items needed. And I want you to spend your set time on this in just a few more minutes, we're going to go ahead and review. So I want you to go ahead and get started on that. And then end of the week, we're going to go through and get this summarized here. Okay? And when we was going through and discovering the history, what did you find out? It started in the time span, the beginning of the pyramids. It varies according to history books at 3200 to 3000 BC. Then we find the ending of it at 30 BC, when Rome decided to take over Egypt and conquer that area. And we had the purpose of that so they could gain a big empire. And what we have here is the purpose of the pyramid. It was dedicated to their kings, and they wanted them to have a plentiful afterlife once they were dead. And what they would do is they would do what's known as mummification and bury them underneath. But also, to show honor towards their ruler of their country, they brought in items and left it there for them to take outside the pyramid. And that's why they have it pointing upward, is that the angle was supposed to be an assistant to helping them reach the afterlife. And then, also, inside, as you discovered, there were many different types of fine arts. And in this book here, Egypt, you can see images on the outside of the book. And then there are many different artifacts that you can see in here. As you see here, you have a big, huge box here with the different images of people and items. You had candles. You had storage spots everywhere. Then you also had the arts shown on the walls, along with the hieroglyphs, which is a form of writing that they used back then. And they did not have vowel sounds. The hieroglyph is a specialized form of writing representing a whole word or sounds without the vowels. And you have all these different items located inside. And then also, you find the descriptions of everything inside there in detail. And we can still go back and go and view inside these pyramids. The archaeologists who study the past history can go in and look up information and keep finding new materials all the time. And so the purpose of the pyramid was to create a piece of fine art inside the pyramid in memory and honor of their pharaoh that served as ruler over their country. And we had to have the dimensions just right in order for everything to lay properly and not be at an odd angle where everything would be protruding out, so no matter which side you go to, it's all evenly displayed. And then you have, of course, the history from 3200 to 3000 BC as its beginning point and ending at the Roman conquering in 30 BC. And here you have the Great Sphinx that is known to have part human and part animal combination as a spiritualization of the kings that served in that time. Thank you.